Level 1. The Chimpira. You are 17 years old, shivering in a rain-slicked alley of Kabukicho. With split knuckles and a cheap imitation leather jacket, you have just spent 3 hours waiting outside a neon-lit mahjong parlor in the freezing cold, hoping an Aniki will glance your way and give you a chance to prove you are worth more than the dirt on his shoes. Your mother thinks you are working at a convenience store on Ome Kaido, stocking shelves until 11 p.m. She packed you rice balls this morning, 2 of them, wrapped in plastic, and you ate them cold at 4 a.m., sitting on a curb. Because you did not want to be late. You have $41 in your pocket, all of it borrowed from a classmate who will never see it again, Zen. Your knuckles are split from a fight you lost 3 nights ago. A fight over nothing, over a look, over the kind of pride that only exists in boys who have nothing else to be proud of. You watch men in dark suits step out of a black Toyota Century, its engine so quiet you only hear the tires on wet asphalt, and you feel something you will later learn to distrust completely. Hope, one of them, mid-40s, gold watch, a scar through his left eyebrow, looks at you for exactly 2 seconds. He does not smile. He does not nod. He simply looks the way a man looks at a stray dog. He is deciding whether to feed. That look becomes the center of your entire year. You make a vow that night, standing in the rain, water running down the back of your collar and pooling in your cheap canvas shoes. You will never be invisible again. That is the whole plan. Nothing more specific than that. You do not know the word irezumi yet. You do not know what a missing fingertip really means, or why some of the older men wear gloves in August. You only know you are cold and hungry and 17, and that somewhere inside this world is a version of you that matters to somebody. You go home at 2 a.m. Your mother has left the porch light on. You stand outside your own door for 4 full minutes before you go in, because you are not ready yet to be her son again. You stop feeling embarrassed about wanting something this badly. That is the first thing this life takes from you, and you do not even notice it leaving. Level 2. The Kobun. You are 18 now, sleeping on a thin mat in a back room, above a pachinko parlor, in Osaka's Nishinari ward, sharing the space with 2 other new Kobun, who snore and cough through the night. Your job is simple and endless. You scrub floors at 5 a.m. with a bucket of water, so cold it numbs your fingers within 90 seconds. You answer phones. You carry umbrellas. You drive the Aniki's Lexus LS 500 and wait outside restaurants for 6 hours, at a stretch with the engine idling to keep the heater running. The songs never mention the smell. Cigarette smoke soaked permanently into the tatami, mats, cheap instant ramen eaten standing up, bleach from the nightly floor scrubbing, and old vinyl car seats baking in August heat. That is the real perfume of this life, not the neon and not the swagger. You are struck across the face twice in your first month for small mistakes. Once for answering a phone on the 3rd ring instead of the 1st. Once for parking the Lexus 4 feet too far from the curb outside a restaurant in Namba. You do not cry. You learn not to somewhere around the 2nd slap. When you realize crying only extends the lesson, you learn to bow at exactly 45 degrees. No more, no less. Because too shallow is disrespect, and too deep is desperation. You learn to pour drinks with 2 hands, label facing the guest. You learn that respect is a currency, more real than the 3,000 yen a week you are actually paid, which barely covers cigarettes and instant noodles from the konbini 2 blocks away. You watch a Kobun 3 years older than you get expelled from the organization for stealing 50,000 yen from a collection envelope, not beaten, not threatened, simply erased. his name never spoken again, as if he had evaporated. That absence teaches you more than any lecture could. In the days following your first real punishment, you stop flinching. When raised voices fill a room, you stop expecting kindness as a default setting of other human beings. You start reading a room before you read a face. Who is tense? Who is performing calm? Who has a blade folded somewhere close? It becomes a second language, faster than words. Level 3, the Wakashu. You are 20. You have been in the organization 3 years, and you finally attend your first real sit-down in a back office, above a ramen shop with peeling yellow wallpaper and a single fluorescent tube that hums at a pitch that will live in your ears for the rest of your life. A frequency you will hear again decades later in hospital waiting rooms and recognize instantly. You learn the numbers that run this world. A territory dispute over 6 blocks of Nishinari real estate. A debt of 8 million yen owed by a small business owner who has already quietly sold his mother's house to cover half of it. You are handed your first real task, collection, and you discover that this life is 90% waiting and 10% anything resembling the movies. You stand outside a shuttered noodle shop for 5 hours in 95-degree heat to collect an envelope that takes 11 seconds to hand over. You count it twice in the car. 400,000 yen exactly. In worn 10,000 yen notes that smell faintly of someone else's sweat. Your Aniki does not say thank you. He simply nods once, which you learn later is the highest compliment this world offers. Your mother calls that same week. You let it ring 4 times before answering, because you have started rehearsing your voice. Before you speak to her, practicing a lighter tone. In the stairwell, like an actor before a scene, you tell her you are fine, that the job is going well, that you might get a promotion soon. Nothing is fine. You hang up and sit in the dark for 11 minutes without moving. Stop feeling bored during the long waits. Waiting becomes a muscle instead of a torment. Something you can do for hours without your mind screaming for stimulation. Other Kobun around you fidget, check phones, complain. You simply stand, still as a lamppost, and you notice this stillness getting. You noticed by the men who matter. Level 4, the Shatei. You are 23, and you have earned a name inside the clan. Not your real name, a nickname, given the night. You took a beating meant for your Aniki, and did not name the men who gave it to you. Even after they broke 2 of your ribs, trying to get you to talk. 9 stitches above your left eyebrow. 2 cracked ribs, numbers 3 and 4, on the left side. Confirmed on an X-ray at a private clinic that does not ask questions and does not file paperwork with the prefecture. You spend 11 days in a hospital bed, telling nurses you fell down a flight of stairs. And every nurse who treats you knows exactly what kind of stairs those were. And none of them say a word. Your mother visits on day 4. She brings a package of cookies from the shop near your childhood home, the same brand she used to pack in your school lunches. And when she sets it on the tray table beside your bed, her hand is shaking so badly, the package slides off the edge and crushes against the floor. Neither of you picks it up. It sits there, broken, for the entire visit. She cries without sound, the way people cry when they have already grieved something once, before it has fully happened, when the grief is not for a death, but for a version of you she is already quietly buried. You stop calling your mother, unless it is a holiday, New Year's, Obon, her birthday. It is easier that way. For both of you, though you never say that out loud to each other. You start sleeping with one eye toward the door, a habit you will keep for the next 30 years, without ever consciously deciding to. You start memorizing exits before you memorize names, counting doors, and windows in every room you enter. A reflex that outlasts almost everything else this life gives you. Level 5, the Kyodai. You are 27 now, a sworn older brother, and the Sakazuki ceremony. That made you one lasted 4 minutes, and rewired the rest of your life. Sake poured in a specific ratio. 7 parts for the senior, 3 parts for you. Drunk in a specific order, in a room lit by a single paper lantern, in front of 11 witnesses, who will remember this moment longer than they remember their own weddings. You now command 6 men beneath you, each one younger than you were when you started, each one looking at you the way you once looked at the man stepping out of the Toyota Century. You learn the real machinery behind the Swagger, a front company registered in Chuoku that imports auto parts from 3 countries, a construction outfit that quietly controls bidding on 14 municipal contracts across 2 prefectures, a loan operation charging effective annual rates north of 200%, dressed up in paperwork that looks, on the surface, almost legal. You learn to read a balance sheet as fluently as you once read. A room full of strangers. Your hands, once split and raw from scrubbing floors, are now clean, manicured. Weekly appointments at a barber who never asks what you do for a living. But the cost arrives quietly, the way costs in this life always do. Your younger brother, the one who used to call every single Sunday at exactly 7 p.m., without fail, stops calling altogether. No explanation. Just silence where a voice used to be. You call him once, from a payphone, and he answers, and there is a pause of nearly 9 seconds before either of you says anything. And in that pause you understand, something has already ended between you. You stop feeling guilt about the loan clients who fall behind. You start feeling something colder instead, a kind of administrative distance, like a doctor delivering bad news for the 1,000th time, present, but no longer present, watching yourself from 6 inches to the left. Level 6, the Shateigashira. You are 32, running a crew of 19 men, and for the first time, you look at your own reflection in the mirrored elevator of a Ginza high-rise, and do not immediately recognize the man staring back at you. Tailored suit, 1,200,000 yen, full-back Irizumi hidden beneath it, a dragon, and koi that took 340 hours across 6 years. To complete each session, 3 hours of needles, at a rate that would have made the 17-year-old in the alley faint from the pain alone, let alone the cost. Your hairline has receded 2 full inches since. There is a permanent tightness in your jaw from clenching it in your sleep, something your dentist has flagged twice now, recommending a mouthguard you never bother to wear. You have a daughter now, 6 years old, who calls you Papa on the 2 days. A month you actually see her, and who has started, in the last year, to flinch slightly when you raise your voice, even in play, even when you are laughing. You notice it the first time at a birthday party. A small flinch, gone almost instantly, but you see it, and it stays with you longer than any beating you have ever taken. You stop raising your voice at home entirely, not even in frustration, not even when she breaks a glass. It does not undo anything. It simply becomes another silence you carry. The mirror moment lingers. You stand in that elevator for the full 38 seconds it takes to descend 11 floors, studying a face that has your mother's eyes and a stranger's mouth, and you think, briefly, distantly, of the boy who stood in the rain, outside the mahjong parlor, and you cannot locate him anywhere in what you see. You stop feeling surprised by your own reflection after that day. You simply stop looking, the way people stop checking a wound once they know it will not heal. Level 7, the Wakagashira-hosa. You are 38. You have survived 2 attempts on your life, 1, a knife, in a parking garage stairwell at 11:42 p.m. that left a 14-centimeter scar along your forearm. A scar you now trace absent-mindedly during meetings, without realizing you are doing it. The other, a car that clipped you crossing Chuodori at 6:15 a.m. and drove off before you could see the plate, leaving you with a fractured wrist and a limp that returns every winter when the temperature drops below 5 degrees. You assist the second-in-command of the entire syndicate now, moving between 6 prefectures on any given week, overseeing accounts that touch real estate, entertainment licensing, and a debt collection network worth an estimated 40 billion yen. You take a fall for the organization, 18 months in Fuchu prison, for a charge that was never really yours. A charge built around a warehouse, fire that a much younger man actually set, and you serve it without naming a single name, because that silence is the only currency left that still means anything to you. In a world where almost everything else can be bought, your daughter turns 9. While you are inside, she sends 1 letter in 18 months. It is 4 sentences long and signed, "From your daughter, not love your daughter." And you notice the missing word every single time. You read it, which by the day of your release is 31 times. The creases in the paper soft as cloth. Prison is not what the movies promise. Truth versus the myth. The films show the courtroom speech, the defiant stare through the glass, the brotherhood forged behind bars. Nobody shows the 18 months of fluorescent light and canned mackerel, and a silence so total you start talking to yourself, just to hear a human voice, counting ceiling tiles. 212 of them, memorized without meaning to. You stop feeling lonely in prison somewhere around month 7. You start feeling nothing instead, which is worse and easier at the same time. A flatness that follows you out through the gate and never fully leaves. Level 8. The Wakagashira. You are 46, second in command of the entire syndicate, overseeing 1,100 affiliated members. Across the country, you wear a wristwatch worth 6 million yen and rarely check it, because time has stopped meaning what it used to mean back when a shift lasted 8 hours and ended with a paycheck you could count. You attend the funeral of your Kumicho's eldest son. An overdose, ruled accidental in the paperwork, whispered about as something else entirely in every room you enter that week. And you watch a 71-year-old man who has never once shown weakness in 3 decades collapse against a temple pillar, his knees simply giving out, 2 younger men catching him. Before he hits the stone floor, watching him, you understand exactly what is waiting for you at the top of this ladder. And it is not the throne room the movies promised. In the days following the funeral, you stop sleeping through the night entirely. You start waking at 3:14 a.m. every single night, for no reason you can name, lying in the dark listening to your own pulse, until your alarm eventually confirms what your body already knew. Your own daughter, 17 now, changes her surname informally at school, dropping your family name for her mother's instead. A teacher mentions it to no one but you, overhearing it, secondhand, from a driver, weeks after the fact, and by then it is already old news to everyone but you. She has become a stranger with your eyes, and someone else's last name, and you do not confront her about it, because you already know exactly why she did it. The family thread pulls tighter here. Your own mother, now 79, is moved into a care facility in Chiba that you pay for anonymously through 3 shell accounts, because you cannot risk your name appearing on any document connected to her, not even the one that keeps her warm. You visit twice a year, using a different name, at the front desk each time. Level 9, the Kumicho. You are 54, and you have finally reached the top Kumicho, boss of the entire syndicate, a title that took 37 years to earn, and that fewer than 40 men in the entire country currently hold. You control an empire built on construction bids, entertainment fronts, and lending networks worth, by conservative estimate, 90 billion yen. You sit at the head of a lacquered table, in a room with no windows, 12 floors above a street. You have not walked on foot in 6 years, and men, twice your former rank, now bow to you at precisely 45 degrees. The exact same bow you once practiced alone, in a cracked bathroom mirror at 18, though none of them know that. And you will never tell them. You catch your reflection in the black lacquer of that same table one evening, and for 3 full seconds, do not know the tired, heavy-jawed man looking back at you. The government has begun classifying organizations like yours under the Anti-Boryokudan Act, freezing accounts within 48 hours of flagging them, pressuring banks to close accounts on site, pressuring your own soldiers, landlords, to evict them with 30 days notice, pressuring golf courses and insurance companies to refuse your membership outright. The world that made this life possible is closing around you like a fist, slowly, bureaucratically, one form at a time. Your closest Kyodai, the brother sworn to you in that sake ceremony 27 years ago, the one who took a blade meant for you in a stairwell you have never told anyone about, is found dead in his apartment. Heart, they say, though almost no one in the room quite believes it. You attend his funeral in a room of 200 men, who will never speak his real cause of death aloud. Not even to each other. Not even after the sake starts pouring. You place a single white chrysanthemum on the altar, and stand there for what feels like an hour but is, according to your watch, 90 seconds. You stop feeling powerful somewhere in that 90 seconds. You start feeling, for the first time since you were 17 years old, standing in the rain, exactly how alone the top of a pyramid actually is. Not surrounded by enemies, but surrounded by men who need you to remain exactly what you are, forever, with no room left for you to simply be tired. Level 10, the Ghost. You are 68 now, retired officially. Though no one in this life ever really retires, they simply stop being asked to rooms, one meeting at a time, until the calendar is empty, and nobody calls to explain why. You live alone, in a small 4th-floor apartment in Kobe. No elevator, and your knees remind you of that climb every single day. A dull ache that starts on the 2nd flight, and does not fully leave until you sit down. Your hands, once clean and manicured, now shake slightly. When you pour your own tea, a tremor the doctors attribute to 50 years of stress and 2 old injuries that never fully healed. The wrist from Chuodori chief among them. You keep a single photograph on your kitchen table. Yourself at 17, in the rain-slicked alley, in the cheap imitation leather jacket, before any of it began. A photo your mother took on a disposable camera she never told you she had. You do not recognize the hope on that boy's face anymore. You have tried, some mornings, standing at the counter with your tea going cold, and you simply cannot find your way back to it. Your daughter, now 40, brings her own son to visit twice a year. He is 6, the exact age your daughter was the day you noticed her first flinch, and he does not know what the ink beneath your long sleeves means, and you intend to keep it that way for as long as you possibly can, buying long-sleeved shirts even in August, even at 33 degrees. So a child's curiosity never has to meet an answer he isn't ready for. Old habits do not turn off. You still check exits before you sit down in a restaurant, counting doors the way other men check the time. You still wake at 3:14 a.m. some nights, for no reason you can name, staring at a ceiling that has no tiles left to count. But some mornings, the ones that matter, you sit on a small balcony as the sun rises orange over Kobe Harbor, the cranes at the port, silent this early, and your grandson brings you tea with both hands, exactly the way you once taught grown men 3 times his age to do. And for a few minutes, the ledger of everything this life cost, you goes quiet, and you let it. Somewhere right now, a 17-year-old is standing in a rain-slicked alley, outside a neon-lit parlor, shivering in a cheap, imitation leather jacket, waiting for an Aniki to glance his way. He will lose a brother who simply stops calling. He will earn a scar. He will lie about for the rest of his life. He will become a father his own daughter quietly renames herself away from. He will stand at the top of something and feel, for the first time, how empty the view is from up there. He has absolutely no idea what he is walking into. The cycle continues.